Hello, 12th standard students. How are you? I hope you are doing fine and you're alright with your health as well as wealth. Now, in this part, we shall try to cover up these two chapters, that is, Deep Water, written by William Douglas, along with the Tiger King Kalki. Okay, Kalki is the name of the author. Now, as usual, we would be reading each and every sentences which is written in the chapter, and we shall try to wrap up these two sessions. Yes, but we would not be in hurry to complete it. We would be doing it in a very systematic way. Okay, and let me tell you the reason that why I am doing these two chapters together, because firstly, to make these videos, it is not as easy as it looks. Okay, it's quite a difficult task with a limitation of apparatus. Okay, and trying to dodge as many problems as I am facing while making these videos. Okay, so don't worry about all those things, just try to understand the theme of the chapter. Okay, we will be covering everything in a very systematic way. So without wasting any time, let us start the chapter. Okay, first the Deep Water. It is written by William Douglas. First we shall be looking at the introduction of our author. Now he was born in Maine, Minnesota. So Maine is one of the cities in Minnesota, and Minnesota is one of the states in United States of the America. After graduating with a Bachelor of Arts in English and Economics, he spent 2 years teaching high school in Yakima. Okay. However, he got tired of this and decided to pursue a legal career. Means he became an attorney. Okay, an attorney. He met Franklin D. Roosevelt at Yale and became an advisor and friend to the president. Now, he is one of the most famous presidents in the United States. Okay, he's very famous. He's one of the most famous personalities out there. That is Franklin Roosevelt. Douglas was a leading advocate of individual rights. He retired in 1975 with a term lasting 36 years and remains the longest serving justice in the history of the court. Okay. The following excerpt is taken from Of Man and Mountains by William O. Douglas. It reveals how, as a young boy, William Douglas nearly drowned in a swimming pool. In this essay, he talks about his fear of water and thereafter how he finally overcame it. Notice how the autobiographical part of the selection is used to support his discussion of fear. Okay, now this is one of the most common things, like if you do not know how to swim, then definitely we have to face hard times with water. Now let us try to understand what kind of problems our author had faced, and I think this is a real story. It had happened when I was 10 or 11 years old. I decided to learn to swim. There was a pool at the YMCA in Yakima that offered exactly the opportunities. Okay, so now if you want to learn how to swim, then it's better to learn in a swimming pool rather than the ocean or beach. Okay, that's not the place to learn swimming. Actually, swimming pool is the best place to learn swimming. The Yakima River was treacherous. Mother continually warned against it and kept fresh in my mind and the details of each drowning in the river. Means his mother would be telling no to swim at this river, Yakima River, okay? Because it's very dangerous. He can get drowned and have death consequences. But the YMCA pool was safe. Yes, swimming in a swimming pool is one of the safest places. This is where a person can learn how to swim. It was only 2 or 3 feet at the shallow end, and while it was 9 feet deep at the other. Yes, the drop was gradual. I got a pair of water wings and went to the pool. I hated to walk naked into it and show my skinny legs, but I subdued my pride and did it. Okay, so somehow he overcame his fear and he just walked in. Okay, and you can even see the map of one of the states of United States is given here, where you can see different water bodies like different lakes, Eastern Lake, Cruel, all these lakes, and even the Yakima River. This, Ellensburg is one of the cities. You can clearly see that different river, and where is Yakima, you can see it. Okay, it's very easy. Okay, looking at the map is just like you are filling up the map of India with different rivers attached to it. It's just the same thing. Okay. Now, from the beginning, however, I had an aversion to the water when I was in it. It started when I was 3 or 4 years old and father took me to the beach in California. He and I stood together in the surf. I hung on to him, yet the waves knocked me down and swept over me. I was buried in water. My breath was gone. I was frightened. Father laughed. But there was a terror in my heart at the overpowering force of the waves. Okay, so this was the incident that had happened with our author, and he is not able to forget that till this present day. Okay, so he remembers this incident, how frightening it was. Okay, and that's the reason our author has narrated the entire chapter. My introduction to the YMCA swimming pool revived unpleasant memories and stirred childish fears. But in a little while I gathered confidence. I paddled with my new water wings, watching the other boys and trying to learn by aping them. Okay, means he would try to do whatever they were doing at that time so that he can learn how to swim. I did this 2 or 3 times on different days and was just beginning to feel at ease in the water when the misadventure happened. So something terrible might have happened with our author. Let us see what had happened. I went to the pool when no one else was there. The place was quiet, the water was still, and the tiled bottom was as white and clean as a bathtub. I was timid about going in alone, so I sat on the side of the pool to wait for others. Okay, so now I think this is at the YMCA swimming pool. Okay, he might have gone out there, but when he had went, there was nobody around. So he might be waiting for someone so that he could join them. Now let us see what terrible incident had happened with our author that he is narrating with us. Okay, just imagine whatever I am explaining you, make sure frame images in your head, so automatically things will be easy. Okay, and these chapters aren't as tough as the chapters of physics. They're quite simple. It's just language. Okay, now I had not been there long when it came with a big bruiser of a boy, probably 18 years old. He had thick hair on his chest. He was a beautiful physical specimen with legs and arms that showed rippling muscles. Okay, so it seems like a bodybuilder. He yelled, "Hi, skinny, how do you like to be dunked?" Okay, so actually he's making fun of our author because is the portrait of the author that was described in the earlier statements suggested that our author was very thin, okay, and timid too. So now let us see what does this person does, okay, this kind of a bodybuilder. With that, he picked me up and tossed me into the deep end, okay. So he picked up the author and threw it in the swimming pool where the depth of water is around 9 feet. So you can imagine, okay, so this seems like a terrible situation. I landed in a sitting position, swallowed water and went at once to the bottom. Yes, water is 9 feet deep. I was frightened but not yet frightened out of my wits. On the way down I planned. When my feet hit the bottom, I would make a big jump, come to the surface, lie flat on it and paddle to the edge of the pool. So this is what our author had planned when he had went in the swimming pool. This is like high jump. I don't think he can do that because since he doesn't know how to swim, it is not easy to do all these tasks, okay, because he's in water and water is a denser medium. Okay, it's just like high jump. Okay, water is a denser medium than air, so I don't think he can do these kind of things. Let us see what happens. It seemed a long way down. Those 9 feet were more like 90, and before I touched the bottom, my lungs were ready to burst. It means a lot of water had went into his lungs. But when my feet hit bottom, I summoned all my strength and made what I thought was a great spring upwards. I don't think he can do that. Okay, because it is quite clearly mentioned that a lot of water had entered in his lungs. I imagined I would bob to the surface like a cork. Instead, I came up slowly. I opened my eyes and saw nothing but water. Water that had a dirty yellow tinge to it. I grew panically. I reached up as if to grab a rope, and my hands clutched only at water. Okay, so these things are really terrible. I was suffocating. I tried to yell, but no sound came out. Then my eyes and nose came out of the water, but not my mouth. Okay, he was suffocating. Suffocating means he was not able to breathe. I flailed at the surface of the water, swallowed and choked. Okay, means he was not able to breathe. Okay, you can imagine this. It is not so hard, like if you don't know how to swim and if one of your friends throw you in the swimming pool that has a depth of 9 feet, then obviously you can understand the problems. So the same problems our author is facing. Okay, very easy. I tried to bring my legs up, but they hung as dead weights, paralyzed and rigid. A great force was pulling me under. I screamed, but only the water heard me. I had started on the long journey back to the bottom of the pool. Okay, you can imagine his situation. I think he is still in the water. I struck at the water as I went down, expending my strength as one in a nightmare fights an irresistible force. I had lost all my breath, my lungs ached, my head dropped, I was getting dizzy. But I remembered the strategy. I would spring from the bottom of the pool and come like the cork to the surface. I would lie flat on the water, strike out with my arms and thrash with my legs. Then I would get to the edge of the pool and be safe. Okay, so he has the strategy, but I don't think that strategy would work. Okay, let us move further. I went down endlessly. I opened my eyes. Nothing but water with a yellow glow. Dark water that one could not see through. I think he is really having hard times in the water. Okay, so this is a terrible nightmare for a person that does not know how to swim, and if you are in this situation, and if you are not so old and mature, then definitely this incident you would be remembering throughout your life. Remember. Okay. And then sheer, stark terror seized me. Terror that knows no understanding. Terror that knows no control. Terror that no one can understand who has not experienced it. Yes, definitely. This is a thing he would not be forgetting throughout his life. That's the reason he has narrated the entire chapter for us. I was paralyzed underwater, stiff, rigid with fear. Even the screams in my throat were frozen. Only my heart and the pounding in my head said that I was still alive. Means he was not even able to yell. Okay. Only his heart and pounding in his head. They were saying that he was still alive. And then in the midst of the terror came a touch of the reason. I must remember to jump when I hit the bottom. At last I felt the tiles under me. My toes reached out as if to grab them. I jumped with everything I had. Okay, you see all these paragraphs, all these sentences, all these words are expressed by author when he was going down. Okay, and just recently, few sentences ago, he reached the bottom of the swimming pool. Okay, then I don't think even if he jumps, that jump would make any difference. I think it would not have any difference. Let us see what our author had faced in his real time. But the jump made no difference. The water was still around me. I looked for ropes, ladders, water wings. Nothing but water. A mass of yellow water held me. Stark terror took an even deeper hold on me like a great charge of electricity. I shook and trembled with fright. My arms wouldn't move, my legs wouldn't move. I tried to call for help, to call for mother. Nothing happened. So I think that person who had thrown our author in the swimming pool had done a terrible mistake. He has done a terrible mistake. In this dangerous situation, a person can even die. Okay, these kind of things are literally very, very dangerous. Okay. And then strangely there was light. I was coming out of the awful yellow water. At least my eyes were. My nose was almost out too. Okay. So it's like someone might have picked our author and took him out of the swimming pool. I think he's realizing all these things. I think there would be definitely some person that might have helped him during this terrible time. Okay, it's very dangerous. A person can even die. Okay, sometimes it is better to not to have fun rather than having a little bit of fun. Okay, always remember. Then I started down a third time. I sucked for air and got water. The yellowish light was going out. Then all effort ceased. I relaxed. Even my legs felt limp and a blackness swept over my brain. Okay? It wiped out fear. It wiped out terror. There was no more panic. It was quiet and peaceful. Nothing to be afraid of. This is nice. To be drowsy. To go to sleep. No need to jump. Too tired to jump. It's nice to be carried gently. To float along in space. Tender arms around me. Tender arms like mothers. Now I must go to sleep. Okay, I crossed to oblivion and the curtain of life fell. Okay, these kind of dangerous things. Okay, this is really a disastrous thing that had happened with our author. Okay. The next I remember, I was lying on my stomach beside the pool vomiting. The chap that threw me in was saying, but I was the only fool. Someone said, the kid nearly died. Be all right now. Let's carry him to the locker room. Okay. you see, the chap that threw me in was saying, but I was only pulling. Okay, so the person or that bodybuilder who had thrown our author in the swimming pool, he's narrating this statement. Okay, like I was just messing up with him. I think he might not be aware that that person didn't know how to swim. Okay, so another people might have come during this time and they might have helped our author to come out of the swimming pool. Several hours later, I walked home. I was weak and trembling. I shook and cried when I lay on my bed. I couldn't eat that night. For days a haunting fear was in my heart. The slight year's exertion upset me, making me wobbly in the knees and sick to my stomach. Okay, so in short, our author doesn't want to remember these things or this incident that had happened with his life. Okay, so he's not at all interested in remembering this. Okay, because that thing is making him afraid. Okay, I never went back to the pool. I feared water. I avoided it whenever I could. Yes. A few years later, when I came to know the waters of the Cascades, I wanted to get into them. Okay, so he might have visited a place and he wanted to go in the water. And I think if he thinks about it, he would be remembering this incident that had happened in his earlier span of life. Let us see what happens next. I wanted to get into them, and whenever I did, whether I was wading the Titan or bumping river or bathing in warm lake of the Goat Rocks, the terror that had seized me in the pool would come back. It would take possession of me completely. My legs would become paralyzed. Icy horror would grab my heart. Okay. This handicap stayed with me as the years rolled by. In canoes on Maine lakes, fishing for landlocked salmon, bass fishing in New Hampshire, trout fishing on the Dosha and Matthews in Oregon, fishing for salmon on the Columbia and Bumping Lake in the Cascades. Wherever I went, the haunting fear of the water followed me. It ruined my fishing trips, deprived me of the joy of canoeing, boating, and swimming. So you know our author really likes all these adventures in water. Okay, he really likes that, but this fear or the incident that had happened during the earlier stages of author's life is provoking him to do all such activities. Now let us see what he might do to overcome all these things. I think our author should really learn how to swim properly, getting a proper instructor that might help him so he can do all these water adventures. And let us see what our author would be doing. I used every way I knew to overcome this fear, but it held me firmly in its grip. Finally, one October, I decided to get an instructor and learn to swim. Yes, so he got the same thing, instructor. Finally, one October, I decided to get an instructor and learn to swim. I went to a pool and practiced 5 days a week, an hour each day. The instructor put a belt around me. A rope attached to the belt went through a pulley that ran on an overhead cable. He held on to the end of the rope and we went back and forth across the pool, hour after hour, day after day, week after week. On each trip across the pool, a bit of the panic seized me. Each time the instructor relaxed his hold on the rope and I went under. Some of the old terror returned and my legs froze. Okay, so there might be a belt that might be hanging around our author's stomach or shoulders, whatever may be. So in short, our instructor can loosen it down so that our author can go deep in the swimming pool, and it would be via pulley. Okay, it would be via pulley. Okay, It was 3 months before the tension began to slack. Then he taught me to put my face under water and exhale, and to raise my nose and inhale. I repeated the exercise hundreds of times. Bit by bit, I shed part of the panic that seized me when my head went underwater. Okay. Next, he held me at the side of the pool and had me kicked with my legs. For weeks, I did just that. At first, my legs refused to work, but then gradually relaxed, and finally, I could command them. Thus, piece by piece, he built a swimmer, and when he had perfected each piece, he put them together into an integrated whole. In April, he said, "Now you can swim. Dive off and swim the length of the pool, crawl stroke." Okay, I did. The instructor was finished. It means that, according to instructor, our author has learned how to swim. But I was not finished. Okay, but the author is saying that still he doesn't know how to swim, according to our author. I think that is because of the incident that had happened with him that is provoking him. Now let us move further. I still wonder if I would be terror stricken when I was alone in the pool. I tried it. I swam the length up and down. Tiny vestige of the old terror would return. But now I could frown and say to that terror, "Trying to scare me, huh? Well, here's to you. Look, and off. I'd go for the another length of the pool." Okay. So he's making fun of the terror. What he's doing, he's making fun of the terror. This went on until July, but I was still not satisfied. I was not sure that all the terror had left. So I went to the lake Wentworth in New Hampshire, dived off a dock at Triggs Island, and swam 2 miles across the lake to Stamped Island. Okay, so he did swim 2 miles. Okay, 1 mile and 1 mile. So together it makes 2 miles. I swam the crawl, breaststroke, side stroke, and backstroke. Only once did the terror return, when I was in the middle of the lake. I put my face under and saw nothing but bottomless water. The old sensation returned in miniature. I laughed and said, "Well, Mr. Terror, what do you think you can do to me?" It fled and I swam on. Okay, so he has really learned how to swim. Yet I had residual doubts. At my first opportunity, I hurried west, went up to the Titan to Conrad Meadows, up the Conrad Creek Trail to Mead Glacier, and camped in the high meadow by the side of Warm Lake. The next morning I stripped, dived into the lake, and swam across to the other shore and back, just as Doug Corcoran used to do. Okay, so he might be a swimmer, this Doug. I shouted with joy, and Gilbert Peak returned the echo. I had conquered my fear of water. So somehow he did overcome his fear. The experience had a deep meaning for me, as only those who have known stark terror and conquered it can appreciate. In death there is peace. There is a terror only in the fear of death, as Roosevelt knew when he said, "All we have to fear is fear itself," because I had experienced both the sensation of dying and the terror that fear of it can produce. The will to live somehow grew in intensity. Okay, at last I felt released, free to walk the trails and climb the peaks and to brush aside fear. So you see, this is how our author Douglas had overcame his fear of water. Okay, so just have an eye on these things. So after a few minutes I will start the next session, that is the Tiger King. Which king? Tiger King. Okay, it's a quite an interesting chapter. Okay, this Tiger King. It's very nice chapter. Okay, after 2 minutes I will start. think Tiger King is a kind of a lengthy chapter, but no problem. We shall be going step by step, and we will be reading each and every single statement. Okay, we will be reading everything and trying to understand what our author wants to convey. What our author wants to convey. Remember to add S. Okay. Okay, the Tiger King. Okay, which king? Tiger King is from the book Vista. Okay. So just check out your books. After 2 to 3 minutes I would be starting this chapter, that is the Tiger King, written by Kalki. Okay, Kalki is the name of our author, okay, remember it. And Deep Water is written by Douglas. You can see how you can remember Douglas, that is you see D and D. Okay, Deep Water was written by Douglas. Okay, with Douglas, so William Douglas. William Douglas. Okay, these chapters are quite easy, they are not hard. Just listen to me carefully and answer the question accordingly, okay? Don't be afraid, just ask what it is written and make sure to write an introduction in each and every question. Okay? Chapters are quite easy in English. Once you listen and understand the chapter, you can write all the answers in your own words. You don't need to mug up from any reference book. Just read the chapter, just read the textbook. That is more than sufficient in our subject English as a first language. Okay, and the code of the subject is 006. It is 006. 1 less than 007. So the Tiger King has 5 parts. Okay, 5 parts. You can clearly see one written under the name Kalki, that is written in a Roman. Okay, after 2 minutes I will start. Let me just have a glass of water, then I will start, okay, because my throat is really getting dry. Okay, so I had a glass of water now. I would start. Okay, it's a little lengthy chapter, but it is not so hard. Okay, it's very easy. Okay, it's a very easy chapter. The Tiger King, written by Kalki. Let us start. I hope you are all right, and let's start. Okay, before we read, there is a question that's written. What's the what's the general attitude of human beings towards wild animals? They like wild animals. Okay, now it depends from person to person. Okay, some people like to kill them. Some people like to see them actually and to play with them, like the cubs of lions. Okay. Let's move further. The Maharaj of Pratibandpuram is the hero of this story. Okay, no need to explain this statement. Maharaj of Pratibandpuram. Okay, and these are all the words, okay, like Sanskrit or Hindi, so we would be pronouncing those words into our original language rather than Maharaja and all those things, okay. The Maharaj of Pratibandpuram is the hero of this story. He may be identified as His Highness Jamidar General Khiledar Major Sat Vigra Samhari Mara Tiraj Viswabhuvana Samrat Sir Jilani Jung Jung Bahadur MADACGC or CRCK. But this name is often shortened to the Tiger King. Okay, these are all the synonyms. Okay, so they are not the different people. Actually, it's the same king. I have come forward to tell you why he came to be known as Tiger King. Our author is saying that. I have no intention of pretending to advance, only to end in the strategic withdrawal. Even the threat of a Stuka bomber will not throw me off track. The Stuka, if it likes, can beat a hasty retreat from my story. Okay? Right at the start, it is imperative to disclose a matter of vital importance about the Tiger King. Everyone who reads of him will experience the natural desire to meet a man of his indomitable courage face to face. But there is no chance of his fulfillment. As Bharat said to Ram about Dasarath, the Tiger King has reached that final abode of all living creatures. In other words, the Tiger King is dead. Okay, so this was spoken during that time, but what really happened with the Tiger King, that is not yet described by our author, and yet it is clearly mentioned that he is dead. Okay, in the beginning we have just started the chapter, so we will try to understand what exactly happened and what is the story about this Tiger King. Okay. The manner of his death is a matter of extraordinary interest. Okay, so here our author is trying to say that the way he died seems to be very interesting, and our author would be narrating in this chapter. It can be revealed only at the end of the tale. It means we have to read the entire chapter. The most fantastic aspect of his demise was that as soon as he was born, astrologer had foretold that one day the Tiger King would actually have to die. Oh, this thing is quite clear. Okay, a person who has taken birth here, that person cannot die. Okay, no matter what happens, we are not invincible. The child will grow up to become the warrior of the warriors, hero of heroes, champion of champions. But they bit their lips and swallowed hard. When compelled to continue, the astrologer came out with it. Okay, so the future tellers, astrologers, they told that this person would be the King of Kings, Hero of Heroes. Okay, so all these phrases that are used for the king, I think they are quite hyperbolic statements. They are all over statements and really he was. Okay. Now let's see what did another person say actually. This is a great which should not be revealed at all. Okay, so a secret. Okay, which secret it is, let us try to read. And yet we are forced to speak up. The child born under this star will one day have to meet his death. Yes, okay, any person born with any star, that person gonna die, okay. At that very moment, a great miracle took place. An astonishing phrase emerged from the lips of the 10-day-old king. O wise prophets, okay. Okay, here they have written this name, okay. A 10-year-old Jilani Jang Bahadur. So when he was 10 years old, he was speaking. So you can imagine what an extraordinary child our king was, okay. O wise prophets. So everyone stood transfixed in stupefaction. Okay, so it seems that everybody is quite surprised, like how a 10-year-old person can speak, but he was speaking. They looked wildly at each other and blinked. O wise prophet, it was I who spoke. Okay, so he can really speak. So people are quite surprised. This time there were no grounds for doubt. It was the infant born just 10 days ago who had enunciated the words so clearly. The chief astrologer took off his spectacles and gazed intently at the baby. All those who are born will one day have to die. We don't need your prediction to know that. Okay, so I was saying you the same things. Okay, any person born, she or he gonna die. Okay, so he told the same thing to the chief astrologer. Okay, and there would be some sense in it if you could tell the manner of of that death. It means he is asking like how we gonna die. How we gonna die. The royal infant uttered these words in his little squeaky voice. The chief astrologer placed his finger on his nose in wonder. A baby barely 10 days old opened its lips in speech. Not that only, it also raises intelligent questions. Incredible. Rather like the bulletins issued by the war offices than facts. The chief astrologer took his finger off his nose and fixed his eye upon the little prince. Okay, so I think he's demanding the answers. So our chief astrologers would be giving him answer. Let us see. The prince was born in the hour of the bull. The bull and the tiger are enemies, therefore death comes from the tiger, he explained. Okay, so the chief astrologer told that the tiger would be killing him. Who would be killing our king? Tiger. Okay, so now let's see now what a king would do about this tiger or tigers. You may think that Crown Prince Jang Bahadur was thrown into a quake when he heard the word tiger. That was exactly what did not happen. As soon as he heard it pronounced, the Crown Prince gave a deep growl. Terrifying word emerged from his lips. Let tigers be aware. Which means, I think he is planning to kill tigers. That's the reason he is using these words or this statement in English. Let tigers be aware. This account is only a rumor rife in Pratibandhuram, but with hindsight we may conclude it was based on some truth. Okay, let us see what truth. Crown Prince grew taller and stronger day by day. No other miracle marked his childhood, days apart from the event already described. The boy drank the milk of an English cow, was brought up by an English nanny, tutored in English by an Englishman, saw nothing but English films. Okay, so this is like British India, okay. This is like British India. So this our king might be a very good person, okay, and an educated person. So English is like a first language to him, okay, because he was tutored or he was taken care by English people. Okay, then English won't be a problem since British people are taking care of him. And he even had an English nanny. Okay, so he's really the prince. He saw nothing but English films, exactly as the crown princess of all the other Indian states did. When he came at the age of 20, the state, which had been with the court of wards until then, came into his hands. Okay, so now he would be the king and taking care of the people. Okay. But everyone in the kingdom remembered the astrologer's prediction. Okay, so everyone might be thinking that our king gonna die because of the tiger. Because of the tiger he gonna die. Let us see what happens further. It is getting quite interesting. When he continued to discuss the matter, slowly it came out to the Maharaja's ears. Of course, he would be knowing everything what people are speaking about him. There was innumerable forest in Pratibhapuram state. They had tigers in them. The Maharaja knew the old saying, "You may kill even a cow in self-defense." There could certainly be no objection to killing tigers in self-defense. The Maharaja started out on a tiger hunt. Okay, so now I think he would be trying to kill all the tigers in his kingdom. All the tigers in his kingdom so that he would be safe. But let's see. Would he be really killed by the tiger or what? The Maharaj was thrilled beyond measure when he had killed his first tiger. He sent for the state astrologer and showed him the dead beast. "What do you say now?" he demanded. "Your Majesty may kill 99 tigers in exactly the same manner." But the astrologer drawled. Means he's trying to say that you would be killing 99 of these tigers, but the 100th tiger would be doing something harm to you, okay? Like that tiger can be dangerous. Let's see what happens. "But what? Speak without fear. But you must be very, very careful with the 100th tiger. What if the 100th tiger were also killed?" Okay, then the astrologer said that he would be cheering up all the books on astrology, set fire to them, and I shall cut off my tuft crop. Tuft, tuft, I hope you are aware about this word tuft. See, in our mother tongue, that is tuft, you can say toti. Crop my hair short and became an insurance agent. Okay. So he would be doing that if 100th tiger is killed by our king. Okay, then he would become an insurance agent. Okay, quite interesting. The astrologer finished on an incoherent note. Okay. Now let us see the third part. Now I hope we are very clear what's going on in the chapter. Okay, it seems very interesting and it is not so hard. Okay, actually it's a quite an easy chapter to understand. Okay. Okay, let us move towards the next part. From that day onwards, it was celebration time for all the tigers inhabiting Pratibhapuram. The state banned tiger hunting by anyone except the Maharaj. A proclamation was issued to the effect that if anyone dared to fling so much as a stone at a tiger, all his wealth and property would be confiscated. Okay, so he would be the only person who is allowed to kill tiger. None for others. The Maharaj vowed he would attend to all the other matters only after killing the 100 tigers. Initially, the king seemed well set to realize his ambition. Not that he faced no dangers. There were times when the bullet missed its mark. The tiger leaped upon him and he fought the beast with his bare hands. Each time it was Maharaj who won. Okay, so he was really fighting the tiger with his bare hands and he was killing them. Okay, so that indicates that he was really the strong person. At another time, he was in danger of losing his throne. A high-ranking British officer visited Pratibandhuram. He was very fond of hunting tiger. Okay, so this seems like quite a bit trouble. And fonder of being photographed with the tigers he had shot. As usual, he wished to hunt tigers in Pratibandhuram, but the Maharaj was firm in his resolve. He refused permission. I can organize any other hunt. You may go on a boar hunt. You may conduct a mouse hunt. We are ready for mosquito hunt, but tiger hunt, that's impossible. Okay, so those two people might be having a chat. The British officer's secretary sent word to Maharaj through the Diwan that the Durai himself did not have to kill the tiger. Okay, that is this high-ranking British officer. The Maharaj could do the actual killing. What was important to the Durai was a photograph of himself holding the gun and standing over the tiger's carcass. But the Maharaj would not agree even to this proposal. If he relented now, what would he do if other British officers turned up for tiger hunts? Okay, in short, he would be trying to stop that British officer to kill tigers. To kill tigers. Okay. Let us see how this story ends up, what he would be doing with British officer. I think he would not be killing that British officer, okay, just to kill tigers. Let us see what happens further. Because he prevented a British officer from fulfilling his desire, the Maharaj stood in danger of losing his kingdom itself. Oh yes, problems. These things are problems. The Maharaj and the Diwan held deliberations over this issue. As a result, a telegram was dispatched forthwith to a famous British company of jewelers in Calcutta. Send samples of expensive diamond rings of different designs. Okay, so now he's talking about diamonds. Okay, so I think he might be giving gifts to our British officer. Some 50 rings arrived. The Maharaj sent the whole lot to the British officer's good lady. The king and the minister expected the Duraisan to choose one or two rings and send the rest back. With no time at all, the Duraisani sent her reply, "Thank you very much for the gift." So it's like he's sending a gift to the British officer's wife or girlfriend. We do not know exactly, but he's giving them really, or giving her very expensive gifts of diamonds. Okay. Let us see further. In 2 days, a bill for 3 lakh of rupees came from the British jewelers. The Maharaj was happy that though he had lost 3 lakh of rupees, he had managed to retain his kingdom. Okay, so somehow it wasn't a problem since he gave a gift to that British officer's wife. And I think from here, 4th part and 5th part, I would be continuing in the next session. So for now, stay safe. Thank you.